What if the voice of a single man could summon lions from the shadows and turn the tide of a forgotten war? Gumbore Shumba, a humble spirit medium, heard the ancestors roar against the white invaders. But hidden in his dreams was a chilling secret, a prophecy of betrayal that would doom his rebellion, yet plant the seeds for a nation's freedom. What was this whispered warning from Mwari, and does it still echo in the winds of resistance today? Step into the fire of the First Chimurenga, where every vision pulls you deeper into the unknown. The Calling. In the year 1895, the Shona lands of Mashonaland lay gasping under a cruel sun. The once green hills around Goromonzi, where baobab trees stood like ancient guardians, now cracked like old skin. Rivers that used to sing with fish had shrunk to muddy trickles, and the air hung heavy with dust. Cattle, the heartbeat of Shona wealth, dropped dead from rinderberst, a sickness brought by the white men's wagons. In villages of mud huts and thatched roofs, families huddled around dying fires, their sadza pots empty. Children with swollen bellies cried for milk that would never come. Colonial taxes beat deeper than any drought. The British South Africa Company, led by the greedy Cecil Rhodes, demanded hard tax, coins for every home, paid in labor or cattle. Men were dragged to mines, women to farms, all under the watch of rifles and whips. Whispered spread like smoke from sacred fires. The ancestors are angry. Mwari weeps for this land. In the hills, spirit mediums, Swikiro, gathered in secret, their eyes distant as they listened to the wind. Kaguvi, Gumbore Shumba, lived in a quiet corner of Chief Chikwakwa Scroll, a cluster of huts near the Umfuli River. He was a man of about 25, tall and lean, with skin like polished ebony and eyes that held the depth of hidden pools. His name, Gumbore Shumba, meant lion's paw, a nod to his clan's strength. But Kaguvi was no warrior. He was a hunter, known for his luck in the bush. Villagers came to him for charms to find game, whispering that he could speak to trees and rocks, drawing secrets from the earth. That night, as the stars pricked the black sky, Kaguvi sat by the river's edge. The water from a sacred pool below Kaguvi's hill never dried. Even now, it bubbled with strange sounds. Low moos of cattle, bleats of goats, crows of distant roosters. Oral tales said the pool was a gateway to the ancestors, alive with their voices. Kaguvi closed his eyes, chewing muti herbs for clarity. Sleep came, but not peace. In his dream, a great lion, the Mondoro spirit, padded through flames. Blood rivers flowed from burning trees, and a voice thundered. The land cries, rise or perish. Kaguvi woke sweating, heart pounding. Was this a warning from Mwari, the high god in the Matopo Hills, or something darker, a call to war that could swallow his people whole? Kaguvi's awakening. Dawn broke grey over the village. Smoke curled from cooking fires as women stirred pots of thin porridge. Kaguvi stumbled into the elders' circle, his face pale. Chief Chikwaka, an old man with a staff carved like a lion's head, frowned. What troubles you, Gumbore Shumba? Your hands have fed us, but your eyes wander like a lost spirit. The elders, grey-bearded men in beaded clothes, leaned forward. Villagers gathered, children peeking from behind skirts. Kaguvi knelt by the central fire, its flames flickering like sacred messengers. He burned more muti, the sweet smoke filling the air with visions. His body shook, eyes rolling back as the trance took him. When he spoke, his voice deepened, echoing like thunder from the hills. I am Kaguvi, voice of the ancestors. Mwari speaks through me. The white men steal our breath. Taxis choke our homes. Their sickness kills our head. The land is restless. A great fire comes. Blood in the dust. We must rise, or the Mondoro will turn from us forever. Gasps rippled through the crowd. A young warrior, Chikafu, gripped his spear tighter, his face lit with fire. But old Mandu, a farmer scarred by colonial whips, shook his head. The white men's guns spit death. We've lost sons to their minds. This talk of spirits, it brings only graves. The village split like dry earth. Some knelt, chanting praises to Mari, others muttered of fear, eyes darting to the horizon where settler patrols rode. Kaguvi rose, sweat beading on his brow. The trance faded, leaving him weak but sure. He felt the lion's paw in his chest, urging him on. Oral stories flooded his mind, tales of ancient Kaguvi, founder of the Rose Empire, who spoke to rocks and led hands that fed kingdoms. Was he that spirit now, reborn in this time of trial? As the sun climbed, a runner arrived from the south, news of Ndebele unrest, led by their medium Mukwati. They rise against the whites, the runner gasped. Kaguvi's heart raced. The dream's blood rivers, were they flowing now? But if he led, who would follow? And what price would the ancestors demand? Alliance with Nehanda. Word of Kaguvi's trance spread like wildfire through the hills. Chiefs sent messengers seeking his counsel. But Kaguvi knew he needed more, a partner in the spirit world. The ancestors pay voices, he told Chikafu, the young warrior who had shown loyalty. I must find Mbuya Nehanda, the grandmother spirit from Azoe. She carries the ancient Nehanda, sister to kings. They journeyed under cover of night, slipping past colonial outposts. The path wound through Msasa forest, where Ungwe eagles, the fish eagles of freedom, soared overhead, their cries like calls from the sky. Chikafu, broad-shouldered and eager, carried Kaguvi's staff carved with lion claws. What if she refuses you? He asked, a voice low. Kaguvi smiled faintly. The Mondoro choose their mates. We are husband and wife in spirit. They reached Nehanda's grove at dawn, a sacred spot under ancient trees where the air hummed with power. Where Nehanda Charwe Nyakasikana in flesh sat cross-legged, her clothes bright with cowrie shells, eyes sharp as spears. Around her, women chanted softly, grinding herbs for protection. She was older than Kaguvi, her braids graying, but her presence filled the space like a storm. I know why you come, Gumbore Shumba, she said, without rising, her voice steady. Mari whispered your name in my dreams, a lion pawing at the door of war. Kaguvi knelt, sharing his visions, the burning tree, the blood rivers. Nehanda nodded, entering your own trance. Smoke swirled, and a spectral lioness appeared beside his lion, their roars blending. "We are one," she declared. "The Shona must unite with the Ndebele. Mukwati calls from the Matopos. We will send messengers, weave the web of rebellion." They sealed the pact with a ritual. Blood from a black goat mixed in a sacred water, drunk under the Hungwesi watchful eyes. As they clasped arms, a wind rose carrying the pulse animal sounds from afar. Unity bloomed in Kaguvi's heart. The spirit army would rise. But as they parted, Nehanda gripped his hand. "Beware the shadow within." The ancestors warned of a claw that turns. Betrayal from whom? The question clawed at Kaguvi as he rode home, the hills whispering secrets he couldn't yet hear. The first omen. Back in Goromonzi, the pact fueled whispers of hope. Villagers sharpened spears in secret. Women wove amulets of lion hair for protection. Kaguvi led night ceremonies by the sacred fire, its flames leaping like enlightened souls. "The Mondoro walks with us," he chanted, voices joining in ancient songs. Chikafu trained youths, teaching guerrilla ways, strike from shadows, vanish like smoke. Then came the omen. A colonial tax collector, a thin man named Hargrove, with a ledger and a sneer, rode into the village demanding coins. "Pay or face the lash," he barked, his African policeman Charlie at his side. A collaborator eyed with hate. As Hargrove tallied hearts, a shadow moved in the bush. A massive lion burst from the trees, its mane like fire, claws raking the air. It pounced on Hargrove, dragging him screaming into the undergrowth. Charlie fled, bloodied but alive. The villagers froze in awe. Tracks led to Kaguvi Hill, where the sacred pool bubbled louder as if laughing. "The Mondoro has spoken," elders cried. Oral tales rushed forth, lions as guardians sent by Mari to mark the chosen. Kaguvi felt the spirit's paw on his shoulder, warm and heavy. News raced to Salisbury, the colonial capital, where officers muttered of witch doctors stirring trouble. That night, as Kaguvi dreamed again, the burning tree loomed larger, its branches clawing at the sky. A figure lagged in its roots, a shadow with a familiar face. Who was it? This betrayer in the omen. And as colonial patrols doubled, would the lion's roar be enough to shield them from the storm ahead? Rise of the Spirit Army. Emboldened by the lion's strike, Kaguvi's call spread. Messengers, swift runners with lion claw tattoos, carried his words to distant crows. The ancestors demand freedom. Join the fire. Nehanda's network wove in from the east, Mukwatis from the south. By early 1896, the Spirit Army gathered. Shona warriors from Goromonzi to Mazoe, even Ndebele allies, sleeping across borders. Kaguvi's scroll became a hive. Under baobab canopies, he led rituals for protection. Sacred fires burned day and night, their smoke carrying chants to Mari. Mondoro cloak us in your mane. Women like Nehanda's daughters brewed muti potions, herbs for strength, bones for visions. Chikafu, now a captain, drilled men in the bush. Strike fast like the Hungwe dives. The spirits make us invisible. Kaguvi earned his name, voice of the ancestors, as he spoke in trances, revealing strategies from dreams. Ambush at the river ford, you would say, and scouts confirmed settler patrols there. Oral myths fueled them. Stories of ancient Kaguvi leading rosy hands, speaking to rocks that rolled to crush foes. A rival medium, Mwenje, arrived from the hills, tall with eyes like coals. I bring my people, Mwenje said, kneeling. But Kaguvi sensed uneasy in his smile, a flicker like the burning tree's shadow. As the army swelled to hundreds, unity bloomed. Shona and Ndebele shared fires, singing of Mwari's justice, but colonial spies lagged. Charlie, the policeman, nursed grudges. One evening, as Kaguvi blessed spears under a full moon, a Wungwe circled low, crying, warning. The first battle loomed. Would the spirits fire light victory or consume them from within? First battles, blood in the dust. June 1896 dawned bloody. The Ndebele struck first in Matebeleland, Mkwati's call echoing. Kaguvi's forces answered in Mashonaland, hitting a settler farmer near Hartley Hills. Under cover of night, Chikaf's men crept through tall grass, hearts pounding with the ritual chants. Mondoro, guide our blades, Kaguvi whispered from a hilltop, his transcending visions, enemy guns jamming like twisted roots. The attack was swift. Spears flew, axes beat into wood and flesh. Settlers fired wildly, but panic spread. Stories of the lion omen had reached them. By dawn, the farm burned, supplies ceased. Warriors returned triumphant, faces painted with ash from the sacred fire. The ancestors fought with us, Chikaf roared, holding a captured rifle aloft. Victory rippled outward. Kaguvi's arms struck patrols along the Umfuli, using guerrilla cunning, traps in riverbeds, ambushes from granite copies. In one clash, near Chief Mashaya Mombe's lands, a young fighter swore an oath under a sacred baobab. By Mwari, I am invulnerable. Bullets whizzed past him as if turned by invisible paws. Oral songs spread. Kaguvi speaks, the lion leaps. Nehanda joined a raid, a presence like thunder. Together, they planned bolder strikes, uniting Shona clans under one roar. Mwenje fought fiercely, his multi turning arrows deadly. But in the glow of fires, Kaguvi dreamed again. The blood rivers swelled, lapping at the burning tree. A claw, lions or men's, reached from the water. As colonial reinforcements marched, with machine guns gleaming, doubt crept in. How long could the spirit army dance in the dust before the fire turned against them? Crisis of faith. Autumn brought counter blows. Colonial forces led by a stern officer named Carrington scorched the earth. Villages razed, fields trampled. In a brutal assault on Goromonzi, machine guns chattered like angry spirits. Hundreds fell, warriors cut down, women and children fleeing into thorns. Chikaf's brother lay among the dead, his oath broken. The army staggered to hidden caves, wounds festering. Around dying fires, whispers turned to wails. The Mondoro has forsaken us, an elder muttered. Chikafu, bloodied and hollow-eyed, confronted Kaguvi. Your visions lied. My brother swore by the tree, yet bullets found him. Where is Mwari now? Kaguvi's heart cracked. That night, alone by the pool, he entered trance. The lion appeared, wounded, its mane singed. The fire tested the faithful, it growled, but visions haunted him, burning villages, rivers red as wounds. His protege, young Tafadzwa, a boy he had mentored in Hans, died in his arms from fever, whispering, "Why Babaku Kaguvi?" The cost of leadership weighed like stones. Nehanda arrived at dawn, a face lined with grief. "Old brother, the ancestors demand sacrifice." They renewed the pact, but Mwenje's eyes darted, his chants faltering. Rumors swelled, colonial gold tempting weak hearts. As winter winds howled, Kaguvi rallied the remnants. Unity or death, a desperate raid planned, hit a supply convoy, but the dream's claw sharpened. Who would strike first, the enemy or the shadow within? The betrayal. Snow dusted the hills, a rare chill in my Shona land. Kaguvi's forces, rugged by fears, shadowed a colonial convoy near the Mazowe. "This strike will break them," Kaguvi said, trans-fueled. Warriors smeared lion fat for luck, Ungwe feathers in hair. But as dusk fell, ambushers waited in vain. The convoy veered, guns blazing into empty bush. Trap sprang too early, betrayed. Chaos erupted, bullets tore flesh, screams drowned chants. Chikafu dragged Kaguvi to safety, but dozens fell. In the rout, Mwenje vanished into shadows. Back in the caves, truth clawed out. A captured scout confessed. Mwenje took gold from the officer. He sold your path. Rage boiled. Mwenje, once ally, corrupted by fear and coin, a rival medium twisted by greed. He envied your voice, Nehanda spat. Kaguvi's dream shattered. The claw was Mwenje's, the burning tree his doing. Colonial patrols closed in, nets tightening. Kaguvi sent Chikafu to scatter the army. Live to fight another day. Nehanda vowed reunion, but a soldier stormed the hill. Chains beat Kaguvi's wrists. Dragged to Salisbury, he glimpsed the pool one last time, its sounds silenced. In chains, he whispered to the wind, "Ancestors, remember." The trial awaited. Would his words shake the oppressors or seal his fate in silence? Trial and testimony. Salisbury's prison was a stone tomb, damp and echoing with coughs. Kaguvi shared a cell with Nehanda, their spirits unbroken amid iron bars. Outside, colonial officers like the antagonist Harding, cold-eyed, with a moustache like a whip, plotted swift justice. These witch doctors stirred the pot. Harding sneered to his men, "Hang them and end the rot." The trial in March 1898 pegged a wooden court with settlers and chained Shona. Judges in wigs banged gavels, air thick with tobacco smoke. Kaguvi and Nehanda stood accused of murder. Charlie, the policeman, slain in revenge for his spying. Witnesses, bought with ram, lied. Kaguvi called the lion. He bewitched the land. Harding offered clemens. Denounce your rebellion. Embrace the white man's God. Live. Nehanda laughed, fierce as a storm. "Mwari is my rock. Your cross is dust." Kaguvi spoke next, voice calm as the pool's depth. Chains rattled, but his words flowed like oral poetry. "This land is not yours to take or till. It belongs to the ancestors, to Mwari who carved its hills, We rose not for hate but justice. The lion calls back what was stolen. Hear me, the spirits do not die. They whisper in the wind, roar in the heart, betray us, and your guns will rust in blood rivers. The crowd stirred, settlers shifted uneasy, Shona eyes blazed. Even Harding paled, as if Unge cries echoed outside. The judges sentenced the death, but Kaguvi's testimony lingered, a seed in fertile soil. As guards led them away, Nehanda leaned close. The fire endures, but in Kaguvi's mind, the prophet twisted. The betrayal's cost was his blood. What final sign would Mari send on the scaffold? Execution and legacy. April 27, 1898. The day dawned unnaturally dark. Clouds boiled over Salisbury, winds whipping dust, devils. Animals wailed, dogs howled in the streets, birds fled skies. A solar eclipse, real on Mari's veil, dimmed the sun to a fiery ring. At the gallows, a rough platform outside the prison, a crowd gathered, settlers jeering, Shona mourning in silence. Kaguvi and Nehanda climbed steps, chains clinking. Harding watched, smug. Any last words, savage? Nehanda went first, struggling as the noose tightened. Mapfupa angu achamuka, she cried. My bones shall rise. Her body jerked, but her eyes held fire till the end. Kaguvi followed, calm as trance. The rope bent his neck, but he twisted, voice clear. The ancestors walk the land. Though my body perishes, the spirit becomes the voice in the wind, the fire in the heart. Mari, remember your children. A gust roared, extinguishing lanterns. The eclipse deepened, shadows dancing like lions. His neck snapped, but oral tales say Ehungwe circled the gallows, carrying his soul skywide. The crowd fled in fear, phenomena etched in memory. Villagers told whispers of his words, hiding them in songs and carvings. Mwenje, the betrayer, vanished, seeds of fire. Decades passed, the winds of change stirring anew. In the 1970s, during the Second Chimurenga, a young freedom fighter named Tendai huddled in a bush camp near Goromons. Rain pattered on leaves as Zanu guerrillas sharpened pangas, hearts heavy from Rhodesian raids. Tendai, orphaned by war, clutched a tattered hide. A hidden journal passed from elder to elder, scrolled with Kaguvi's oral tales. Ceremonies at Kaguvi Hill draw crowds, drums beating, motifs of lions and fires. As the helicopter stamped overhead, Tendai stood, fire in his eyes. We are the voice now. Fighters chanted Kaguvi's songs, Ungwe feathers in rifles. In 1980, Zimbabwe rose, independent, scarred but free. Statues of Kaguvi and Nehanda guard Harare, their stone eyes watching. Sekuru Kaguvi's legacy. Sekuru Kaguvi's legacy extends beyond history into Shona oral traditions and folklore, where he is often shown as a powerful spiritual figure with supernatural abilities tied to ancestral spirits Mondoro and the high god Mwari. Over the years, popular myths have evolved around him, blending his real-life actions with legendary elements that emphasize themes of resistance, spiritual guidance, and enduring legacy. These stories are preserved through oral narratives, ceremonies, and modern retellings, symbolizing Shona cultural resilience. So I'm going to share some of the most commonly associated myths drawn from Shona folklore and historical accounts. Communicating with nature, trees, and rocks. One of the most enduring myths portrays Kaguvi as having the supernatural ability to speak directly to elements of nature, such as trees and rocks, which would respond to him or convey messages from the ancestors. In Shona oral traditions, this power made him a mystical intermediary, allowing him to gather hidden knowledge or summon aid from the environment during hunts or spiritual quests. Stories often describe him hiding in the bush, whispering to rocks that would speak back with echoes of Mari's will, or trees that bent to shield him from enemies. This myth underscores his deep connection to the land and spirits, positioning him as a guardian of Shona harmony with nature. Provider of good luck in hunting. Kaguvi is frequently mythologized as a source of extraordinary good fortune in hunting, a skill that elevated his status in pre-colonial Shona society. According to popular legends, hunters would seek his blessings or charms before venturing into the bush, and he could predict or influence successful hunts by communicating with animal spirits or the land itself. One common tale recounts how he would speak from the trees to guide hunters to abandon game, ensuring community survival during times of scarcity. This myth ties into his broader role as a benevolent spiritual leader whose powers extended to everyday sustenance and protection. Spirit husband to Mbuya Nehanda. A central myth in Shona folklore shows Kaguvi as the spirit husband of Mbuya Nehanda Charwe Nyakasikana, another key medium, symbolizing a sacred union between their Mondoro spirits. Oral stories emphasize this spiritual marriage as a divine partnership ordained by Mwari, where Kaguvi convinced Nehanda to preach the gospel of war against colonial invaders, uniting Shona clans in rebellion. Legends often portray them as complementary forces, Kaguvi as the strategic voice and Nehanda as the visionary, whose bond amplified their resistant efforts. This myth highlights themes of unity and spiritual complementarity, and its preserved songs and rituals honoring their joint legacy. The never-drying sacred pool and animal noises. Linked to Kaguvi Hill near Goromonzi, a popular legend describes a sacred pool in the Umfuli River that never dries up and emits eerie animal sounds such as the lowing of cattle, bleating of goats, crowing of roosters, or the beast. In Shona oral traditions, this pool is seen as a gateway to the ancestral world, animated by Kaguvi's spirit, Mudzimu, which uses the sounds to communicate prophecies or warnings. Stories claim Kaguvi would consult the pool for guidance, and its noises signaled Mari's messages during the rebellion. This myth endures in local folklore, with the site still visited for spiritual ceremonies, symbolizing Kaguvi's eternal presence in the landscape. Historical ties to ancient empires and reincarnation. Myths connect Kaguvi's spirit to ancient Shona history, claiming his Mudzimu originated from the Rosri Empire in the 17th century, where an earlier medium named Kawodza, or the original Kaguvi, led migrations and hunts in Grusqua, ancient Zimbabwean grasslands. Popular stories suggest his spirit reincarnates through mediums over generations, occupying human forms to guide the Shona during crises. This legend portrays him as an immortal force reborn in Gumbore Shumba to resist colonialism, emphasizing destiny and cyclical Shona spirituality. Post-death salvation and prophecies during later struggles. Even after his execution in 1898, myths showed Kaguvi's spirit as an active protector, possessing mediums to intervene in later conflicts like the Second Chimurenga, 1960s to 1970s. A notable personal tale from an elder recounts how during a 1977 raid by Rhodesian auxiliary forces, Kaguvi's spirit possessed a medium, the narrator's aunt, prophesying punishment for the collaborators' crimes and victory for liberation fighters. The spirit's words allegedly swayed the captors to release the group unharmed. This myth illustrates Kaguvi's ongoing role in folklore as a guardian against oppression, with supernatural prophecies ensuring justice and cultural continuity. These myths have evolved through Shona oral storytelling, adapting to modern context while preserving Kaguvi's image as a symbol of resistance and spiritual depth. They often blend historical facts with supernatural elements, reflecting how folklore sustains cultural identity in Zimbabwe. Wow, what a powerful tale of Kaguvi Gumbore Shumba, the voice of the ancestors who lit the fire of resistance against colonial chains. His spirit, like Nehanda's, still rolls in Zimbabwe's heart. Want to keep this legacy burning? Smash that like button if Kaguvi's courage inspired you, and subscribe for more epic Shona stories next. So next we uncover another hero who shaped our heritage. Share this video with friends to spread our culture's pride. In the comments, tell us, what do you think Kaguvi's secret prophecy meant, and how does it speak today? Don't miss out. Join our community to honor the ancestors together.